Welcome to Big City Tiny Kitchen. I'm Christine, and today we're talking my top 5 favorite tiny kitchen finds. We're gonna start off, I have 5 items here that make great sense for small kitchens, especially like ones in New York City where I live. And we're gonna start off with my mini food processor. This is something that I started and got myself 6 years ago. A fantastic little Ninja. This thing has power like you will not believe. It grinds nuts. You can put soups in here. I don't have an immersion blender. This cuts down me having to have that appliance as well. You know, this is great for making hummus, pureeing, anything in here. I don't need to have multiple tools to do the same thing that this tool can do. I actually wanted to upgrade a little bit because I wanted to be able to emulsify or pour liquids or oils into the cover, which the Ninja couldn't do. So I upgraded and got myself a KitchenAid 2-cup food processor, which is fantastic for doing everything I just mentioned. And I decided that I wanted to keep the Ninja because it was great for making ground meats. So now I use my Ninja for primarily making ground meats and keep my KitchenAid for doing everything else. But again, you know, you only really need one. It can do everything you want to do. A 2-cup is fantastic for a small family or a couple. I just use this for myself, and I think it is the perfect little kitchen item. This is one of my top kitchen appliances that I use probably multiple times a week. Our second tiny favorite kitchen find is cast iron. I know, I'm sure you've probably heard cast iron all over recently. It's become very trendy, very popular. And I had gotten one several years ago as a gift and realized that this is a fantastic tiny kitchen pan. It can do everything. As long as you take care of this, you can cook eggs in here. You can cook pancakes. I cook my veggies in here. I take them from the stovetop, put them in the oven, bring them back out. This thing can do everything. I actually got myself a second one, which was more of a flat pan, which was fantastic for doing eggs and stuff like that on as well, without having to go deep within the pan on the side pan one. The one thing you do have to know with cast iron is that you should never be using soap on these. So get yourself a fancy little brush like this, or, you know, use a specific sponge that you never, ever, ever put soap on, and wash this out. And then make sure that when you're done washing it out with water only, that you dry it completely off. If you do not dry it and put it away, it'll start getting rusty and you'll have to go through the process of kind of bringing it back to life. But, you know, cast iron is great. It builds up that kind of coating layer where it becomes non-stick naturally. So my top favorite kitchen pan will always be cast iron for that reason. All right, moving on. I have a fantastic wooden recipe box that I bought myself a couple years ago, and I got this out of the need to kind of consolidate a lot of my recipes, and I could never find them whenever I needed them. I had just stacks and stacks of magazines lying around with different recipes that I had pulled out of them and thrown in there. I've had recipes on my laptop, I've had recipes on my phone. How do I consolidate all that? I put them on individual cards and now store all of my recipes from family, from my cookbooks, from my magazines, everything gets its own card and put in this box that I can organize however I may choose. So this has become just a fantastic kitchen organizer for me. And you know, it also does not take up that much space. It takes up less space than all of my magazines and cookbooks ever did. So I now have one place where I can go and find anything that I know I have a recipe for. Great. Moving on. Tiny kitchen. Item number 4, we have these fantastic little spice containers, and you can actually find these at IKEA, hint, hint. These are fantastic and immensely cheap. So they come in packs of 3. I got several packs, and I actually now, you can throw them on your fridge because they're magnetic. So whenever guests come over, this is the one thing that everyone will always comment on, is seeing these on my fridge. They're not only practical in the use of, storing my spices and getting my spices off the counter or out of the cupboard, but they now have become this sort of artwork on my fridge, which is really pretty. You know, you can have different reds and greens and my sea salt white. So all of these just become kind of like a little collage on my fridge, which I think is really cute. And then finally, top tiny kitchen find, my wooden spoon collection. I'm sure you guys all have, you know, a large number of different utensils that you use to cook with, but wooden spoons are my top kitchen utensil. I use these in cast iron. I use them in my stainless steel pans. They're great because they don't rub or scratch the surface of my pans. It's not scratching off that, you know, nice built up layer of film on my cast iron. And they're also incredibly eco-friendly. You know, I'm not feeling bad if I go through a couple of these a year and have to toss them. They're also relatively cheap. You can get these at pretty much any store for a couple bucks a piece. So I will always have a ton of these on hand. Great kitchen find. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 tiny kitchen finds. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have a top kitchen item in your tiny kitchen, please drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what they are. Thank you guys. See you next time.